Hi, I'm Cheri Tree, and I'm the author of this book, Why They Buy. And I want to give you an absolutely free copy of my digital book. The reason is this book has the power to transform your influence, your income, and your impact. And it's all based on this four-letter word called bank. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory on why I wrote this book and what's in it for you. See, I got started in business as an entrepreneur. I really wanted to grow my own business, and I really had a fantasy of making 6 figures of income, if not one day even 7 figures. And I didn't really know how to do it. I remember reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad and learning from Robert Kiyosaki. He said, if you want to be great in business, you've got to be great in sales. So I took his advice and I jumped in with both feet, became a financial advisor. And the financial model I was working in was based on strictly 100% commissions. Well, guess what? My first year, I crushed it and I made $700, as in total. In other words, I was a total failure and I wasn't sure whether or not I should go back and get a job or should I keep moving forward to become a successful entrepreneur. So over a 5-year period, I studied every sales methodology I could get my hands on. I read books, I listened to audio programs, I attended seminars and webinars, I hired coaches, and ultimately what I did was I racked up $30,000 in credit card debt trying to figure out how to crack the code to making more income, and I was just simply frustrated. 5 years into my career, my income was roughly $72,000, and I didn't feel anything close to successful. $30,000 in credit card debt, renting an apartment, couldn't afford a home, and driving a salvage title BMW, playing the fake it till you make it game. Now, I don't know where you're at personally in your financial life, but for me, that is not where I wanted to be. It reminded me of this other quote from Robert Kiyosaki where he said, stop taking advice from people more messed up than you. I thought, whoa, yikes. I'm a financial advisor telling other people what they should do with their money, and I didn't have any money of my own. And this left me completely frustrated. Matter of fact, it was at this point where I had to really analyze something is broken. I'm not sure if it's me that's broken. Maybe I'm just not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Or was it the system that was broken? And my friend, what I discovered is it actually wasn't me, and it's likely not you. It was indeed the system. The system was programming people like me to fail by brainwashing me into believing one of the greatest lies ever told. What I was told was that sales was a numbers game. Have you ever heard that one? Have you ever been told that in order to get more yeses, you actually have to get more no's? I bet you could answer that too, because every single time I've asked anyone, anywhere in the world, that statement, they've been able to answer it the same exact way. You see, for 5 years, I bought into that concept and I got caught into the trap of hustle and grind and burning the candle at both ends, only to wake up totally frustrated and defeated with no more money in my bank account. And that's when I woke up and said, this is actually the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because the truth is, in order to get more yeses, you actually have to get more yeses, not more nos. Well, that one thought changed my entire future because I sat out on an initiative to figure out how to get the yes. Was it an art or was it a science? Or was it in fact both? Well, what I discovered was the secret, the science, and then I put together a system that could transform everything for entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals like me and possibly like you. And I ended up calling this system bank. You see, the secret is that sales is not a numbers game. It's a people game. And if you get to understand people, you can actually win the game of business. Then I discovered that sales is not only an art, it is in fact a science. And the more I studied, the more I learned. And the science that I built the bank system on is something called personality science. Now, personality science is not something that I invented. It actually dates back thousands of years in time to the Greek philosopher and the great physician known as Hippocrates. Hippocrates basically figured out that he could take the entire world, divide them into 4 different groups, and treat them with medicine differently just based on what he called their personality temperament. And that's where the theory of the 4 temperaments originated. Well, when you fast forward to our modern day world, there's been a number of different personality assessment models that have been created. Some of the more popular ones that you may have heard of might be DISC, DISC or MBTI, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, the color code, the Keirsey temperament sorter. I mean, the list literally goes on and on. And I took a number of these different personality assessments. Maybe you have too. And in the beginning, what I discovered about myself was pretty fascinating. But I'll be honest, my fascination turned into frustration when I realized not one single one of these assessments ever made me more money. Not one of them ever helped me close more sales. Not one of them ever put money in the bank. And that's when I remember thinking, wait a minute. If it's been proven for thousands of years that there's 4 different types of people, I wonder if they make buying decisions differently. And I wonder if what makes one person say yes makes another person say no. And this led to one of the greatest discoveries of my lifetime. The reality is I started looking for an assessment model, not based on who I am, but who my customer was, who my prospect was, who my potential future buyer was. And I wanted an assessment that could tell me, not based in psychology, but something based in what I call biology, the science of buying behavior. At the end of the day, all I wanted to know is what makes the customer say yes versus no. And I figured it out. I ended up reverse engineering the concept of personality types and building my own model that could predict buying behavior, that could predict exactly what makes someone say yes versus no without any form of manipulative sales tactics whatsoever. And I ended up calling that program BANK, B-A-N-K. Now, what happened was I started using this concept with my clients. I wanted to determine their bank code. And guess what happened? My income exploded. In my first single year using the bank system as an experiment, I took my income from $72,000 to over $500,000, a 7x increase. Imagine what your life could look like if you could multiply your income in the next 12 months by 7 times. And the best part for me was that I went from working 60 to 80 hours a week down to 20 to 30. So 7x the income in 1/3 the time. And my life changed forever. At that point, I got really passionate about the bank system and I started using it in every single appointment with my clients. Within 3 years, my income was over $1 million a year. And at that point, everyone who knew me wanted to know my secrets. I started getting asked to go out and speak and train different sales organizations, to come and keynote at conferences. And that landed me on some of the greatest stages and business conferences in the world, keynoting next to people like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Sir Richard Branson, Les Brown. The list goes on and on. I also got invited to be a guest lecturer for an MBA class at Harvard University. The University of California brought me into a number of different campuses and even a guest speaker event at the United Nations. How is this even possible? I was just a little broke, struggling entrepreneur trying to figure out how to make ends meet and trying to hopefully one day make a 6 and maybe a 7-figure income. Well, guess what? I cracked the code, and I want to help you crack this code too. I want to help you transform your financial life forever. The financial advisor in me wants you to be financially successful. And the reason I want you to do that is because the odds are so heavily stacked against you. If we live here in the United States, for example, one of the wealthiest, most successful countries on the planet, and yet 95% of Americans at retirement age are totally flat, busted broke. 4% are financially independent. And that used to be where I was trying to help my clients get to until I understood the government's definition. You need to have $1 million set aside. Can't be your home equity. And that means you can live on roughly $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Does that sound exciting? Not so much for me either, right? And that only leaves 1%, what's known as the wealthy 1%. And if you want to make it into that club, I got news for you. You need to be a decamillionaire. What's that? It means you've got at least $10 million socked away. So the odds are heavily stacked against people like you and me. And I remember making a promise to God. And I said, God, if you'll show me how to become a millionaire, for real, like legit, then I will dedicate the rest of my life to teaching other people just like you how to get there too. Now, I can't make any income claims or guarantees, but here's what I want to let you know. I cracked the code and I call it the bank code. So let me quickly explain what bank is and how it works. Bank is an acronym. The B stands for blueprint. A person who classifies themselves as a blueprint is going to be very conservative, what I would say is inside the box. They're very risk averse. They're a little bit colder to approach. That's why I use the color blue. The A stands for action. That's your mover and shaker and millionaire maker. They're like a red hot stick of dynamite. They act like they just drank Red Bull for breakfast and they want red carpet VIP treatment. Well, the action personality type is totally outside the box. Can you imagine if you approached them the same way, what would happen? It probably wouldn't go over very well. The N in bank stands for nurturing. That's going to be the person. I use the color warm because they're warm like sunshine. They're sweet like honey, and they've got a heart of gold. These are the people who you meet with, and they say the money's not what motivates me. It's the mission. I don't care about making $1. I care about making a difference. Really incredible people. And the K in bank stands for knowledge. That's the person who says, look, just give me the data. I don't trust anything you're saying. I want the data and the facts and the science that proves it. Well, great news. You can download any of our white papers where the research has already validated this bank methodology. Now, here's what I discovered is that you're not just one of these four. Matter of fact, that's why you just cracked your bank code. You're actually a combination of all four. If you think of a bank code like a PIN code, if you take your debit card and go put it into the local ATM machine, it wants you to enter a 4-digit PIN code if you want your money to come out. Well, guess what? Doing business with clients is the exact same way. What I'm about to teach you is how to become a code breaker and how to understand how to crack the personality code of the person that you're talking to and how to take it to the bank. If it's in a business setting, you can make a lot more money. If it's in a personal setting, you can put deposits into your emotional bank account. And that's how and why our clients are using this bank methodology in more than 100 different countries around the world. To date, we here at Codebreaker have cracked hundreds of thousands of people's codes, soon to be millions, but that's nowhere close to our vision. Our vision is to crack 8 billion codes, the code of every single person on the planet. Why do we care? Because our mission is simple. Our mission is to connect and empower humanity. What we discovered is by knowing someone else's bank code, number one, when you understand yourself, like the Greek philosophers who said, know thyself, then you start to have one element of emotional intelligence. This is going to make you more self-aware and be able to self-regulate the way that you interact in the world with other people. And the second part of emotional intelligence is to also be aware of the other person that you are interacting with and being able to modify the way that you communicate with them. When you can develop that skill, you can literally paint your future in gold. Here's why. Because when you crack the personality code of the person that's in your life, we're going to teach you exactly how to communicate more powerfully and more effectively with that human being. It's as if you're speaking their native language. You see, statistics show, and in the sales world, they did a study, and they said, I wonder if personality types matter in the sales process. What they discovered is that only 18% of buyers are going to buy from a salesperson who does not match the personality type of the customer, versus 82% success rate when personality types are aligned. So again, you may not be in sales. You may be a stay-at-home mom. You may be a career W-2 employee. It doesn't matter what your role is. If you understand that every human in the world has a bank code, we're going to teach you how to optimize every single one of those relationships. And that now becomes our goal. So please allow me to give you a free copy, a digital copy of this book. Thank you for watching this short little video so that I could explain a little bit more about why I wrote this book and how I want to help people just like you be able to help crack that personality code so you can take it to the bank. You matter to us, and that's ultimately our mantra here at Codebreaker, is make people matter. So click the button below. Claim your free copy and the accompanying action guide that comes with it. I want you to genuinely read this book. Read it word for word, because this book and the words that are written on these pages can transform every single one of your relationships going forward. This book is going to help you increase your influence, whatever your messaging is, your income. We want you and need you to make more money, and your impact so that you can go out there and make a difference in the world. Click the link below and gain access to your free digital copy of this book. Thank you so much, and welcome to Codebreaker.